Hello, and welcome back to the Marketing Brief Podcast. I am your host, Brian Aquan. This is the podcast where we briefly touch on topics across the marketing landscape. And as always, we are joined by an industry expert. Today, we are very excited to be joined by Kayla Bryant. Welcome in, Kayla.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for having me.
We're so excited to have you. Would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners and kind of talk about what it is you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Kayla. I am general manager at Two Trees Digital Marketing. We are a boutique size agency and we support clients in a lot of different realms with a lot of different things, but our main focus is on paid media supported by strong SEO, creative, and CRM integration.
Well, it's great to have you for this discussion today. We were talking a little bit before we hit record, and we thought that authenticity might be something we could kind of connect on here at Aquan Consulting. My consulting agency, we've kind of identified authenticity, community, and value as being three macro trends. How do you view authenticity through like your clients' eyes, and kind of how do you inform them about it? Is it something that's important to them, and how do you think consumers are reacting to authentic messages these days?
Yeah, great questions. I think in 2026, authenticity it's really everything. It's really important. It's important to consumers and it's becoming, I think brands are realizing it's very important for them as well. A lot of the conversations that we're having with our current clients right now in relation to their creative and their copy and their campaign strategy revolves around being more authentic, more engaging, more relatable, because it's just kind of like in this very digital world that we all live in where there's so much content all of the time. It really is about creating that special moment of connection with someone in relation to your brand or your product or whatever it may be, that they feel some sense of connection to it rather than just knowing about your brand or thinking about your brand.
Yeah, I totally see authenticity as a route to connection. I mean, I think there's the wild AI slop, fake videos out there, right, that are very inauthentic, and that's one total end of the spectrum. And then you're trying to connect with consumers ultimately, right? As a brand or a service, you're trying to connect with consumers. And a great way to always do that is through authenticity. Yeah. So you guys would describe yourselves as a boutique agency?
Yeah, I'd say so. We've got 10 employees and a handful of clients that we work for.
Nice. What are some of the biggest challenges you kind of face right now as a boutique agency in 2026?
Oh, that's a good question. I think something that we run into often is kind of this weird time that we're in is like a battle with AI, where we're trying to figure out how we best use AI to support our processes and our values and our practices. And meanwhile, a lot of our clients are also figuring out how they use AI.
Yeah.
And sometimes it ends up that, maybe we're a little bit more advanced with it than they are. And so they're bringing some ideas to the table that are a little bit out there that you can tell, this was a conversation they had with AI. They don't really know what they're trying to accomplish, but then they're bringing it to us here's this idea. And we're trying to just navigate, what do we do with this? And where do we go? And how do you have that conversation of okay, I see we're trying to do something here, and how do we kind of bring it back to best practices in marketing?
Yeah, I mean, that relationship has always been, you depend on your agency to help you get through these things, right? And understand them. So maybe look at it from within your agency. On this podcast, we've been talking about AI as anywhere along the spectrum of a tool in terms of a calculator of our times, right? You have the right inputs and it gives you exports. Exports? Yeah. Outputs. I conflated those two words. So anywhere from a calculator to full infrastructure, kind of where are you guys along that spectrum in terms of implementing AI as part of your processes?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say we're somewhere in the middle. We're using it definitely in most of our practices, whether that be an LLM itself or an AI tool that's integrated within the platforms that we run ads on. So we're definitely not afraid of AI at our agency. But we are still, I think you have to be still a little bit skeptical of the outputs and of just the tools in general. Like a great example is Google's AI. There are some things about it that are really helpful, and there are some things about it where if you let it do what it wants, it's just going to totally destroy your campaigns. So we're in that like hybrid, I guess, of utilizing the tools, but very heavily monitoring everything with our human experts.
Have you internally, come up against people who don't want to engage in it? Like, how have you been implementing with employees inside your agency? Has there been any pushback to it?
No, not at all. I guess we've been lucky in that regard. Everyone is pretty willing to just give it a try and see what tools work for them. I think everybody in the agency uses at least one tool that has AI, but we're not all using the same ones. It's just kind of a testing period, and depending on what roles, we all have very different roles because it's, like I said, a boutique size firm.
Yeah.
So everyone's just kind of doing what works for them right now as far as which tools they're implementing.
And have you had to set any guidelines for how to use it? Or is it still kind of like, hey, go and try it out and see if it makes your job easier?
Yeah, I'd say like on a case by case basis, we've got some guidelines like for certain industries or for certain clients or certain types of content where we either don't want to use it or we want to use it very cautiously or very minimalistically. But we don't have like an across the board kind of rule, I guess, there. We just have different parameters in place for different things that we do.
Figuring it out. That's what we're all doing, right?
Yeah, it's kind of the space that we're living in.
Awesome. Being a boutique agency, I really love, well, I'll let you answer, tell you what I love about boutique agencies. What do you think are the advantages of using a boutique agency in 2026, I guess, right now?
Yeah, I can say for our agency specifically, I don't know if this applies to all of them, but when you work with Two Trees, you're actually, as a client, speaking directly with the experts that are running your campaigns, which is a little bit unique. I know in the larger agency world, there's a lot of kind of like dancing around, like a little bit of smoke and mirrors of like, okay, we're running your ads and here's some like vanity metrics for you to look at and it's going great and you should give us more money, essentially. It has been my experience with the big agency world. And then having the small agency, like everyone on my team really like truly cares about the campaigns that we run.
Yeah.
We're in there every day monitoring them. Like I said, the clients communicate directly with like the Google ad specialist, the Meta ad specialist, the SEO specialist. Like they're on emails, they're on meetings, they're on calls together. So it's just kind of that, again, that like personal connection and relationship and communication that we've been able to build with them where they trust us because they know the people doing the work.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, like, the reason I think boutique agencies are really working right now, you're able to be nimble, obviously, with a smaller workforce. And as you just described, you're closer to the work, right? You're more in the numbers, fingers on keyboards, kind of doing the work every day, which I love, especially in a time when it seems like a lot of things are changing right now. A lot of landscapes are changing, just the media landscape, but how we work, when we'll work, those kind of things are all kind of changing right now. So I think it's nice to be attached to a boutique agency that can be nimble and can figure things out with you as you're figuring it out as a marketer.
Yeah, for sure. There's no like red tape around here. If the client has a request and we think it's reasonable, we'll figure out how to make it happen.
And I'm definitely familiar with the prove it out and then ask for more money. That's kind of like always the position you're in at an agency, right? It's like, hey, it's working. Here are the numbers. Yep, we just need to feed some more money into it and we can scale.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys are deep in the media space. In my career, I was a media planner back in the early 2000s. I've seen that space change so much where, we used to be buying websites that were former magazines and there was this huge landscape of used at plan and you figured out which sites you went to. And now it seems like the choices are so much more narrow. Is that kind of what you're seeing too now that there's a couple places you go to buy media?
A little bit, yeah. It's like it's more broad and more narrow at the same time, weirdly. But yeah, because instead of like going to all these different print magazines, right, and like all these different radio stations, everything is pretty streamlined. Like you can go on and just do like, okay, streaming TV by 7 different streaming TV platforms with the ad all of a sudden. And then obviously social platforms, like there's there's numerous social platforms, but we all know the top like three that perform
Yeah.
and the ones that perform best for specific industries. So yeah, I think you're right. It has kind of consolidated, maybe even monopolized a little bit, which who knows if that's good or bad. I
Yeah.
think that we are seeing kind of Google's reign break up a little bit with the introduction of LLMs and AI. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be a disruptor as people move. And you guys do so much with search, like move from search to searching through their AI companions. It'll be an interesting space. I think what I'd love to ask you about, though, is when I was a media planner and planning media, I would look at that as my targeting, right? It's like, how do I find the right consumer that way? And now it seems more like Meta and Google are like, just give us your ads. We're going to find the consumer, certainly if it's like a commerce brand or if you're optimizing against leads or like, we're going to find those leads, just give it to us. And to me, that means that now the targeting has shifted to the creative, right? Where it's like you have to build different creative for different targets because you're not doing the targeted on the media side. Is that something you're seeing?
A little bit, yeah, yeah. It's definitely more behaviorally and like interest-based
Yeah.
targeting those are like the levers that we have to pull now on that end. And so you are thinking when you're making the creative about like, these are the people we're targeting with the ad. Like generally, obviously people are different, but this is like the large bucket of people that we say we're targeting, what kind of ad creative and ad copy will largely speak to them. So it is definitely flipped, whereas before you were like kind of taking a guess at like, I'm assuming these are going to be the right placements for this audience based on, a bunch of different data. It's just kind of opposite data points now.
Yeah. I'm just old enough to know a world where it's like media did its thing, creative did its thing, and then it came together as the campaign was launched, right? And then during my career in digital media, it was like, oh, digital and creative need to work together because there's different formats and you want to be saying the right story at the same time. So yeah, and now I think it's moved all the way over to like, hey, we need 1,000 different creatives because that's where all the targeting and the messaging is done. And we don't know what's working until we put it up there and start to see numbers.
Yeah, lots of dynamic ads, lots of testing, definitely. And the platforms are getting to a place where like they will do it for you. It's
Yeah.
still not always great though. So it's
Right.
it's
Yes.
that space where it's like you still need someone that knows what they're doing with the platforms to actually make it perform.
Yeah. I don't think that's ever going to change, but we'll
We'll
see.
see.
Everything changes.
It might.
Well, something I love to ask all my guests is what is something you are looking forward to? It can be in your professional capacity or in your personal life. Is there anything coming up that you're excited about?
A lot of things, a lot of different
Great.
things. Professionally, we, Two Trees, are actually getting ready to launch like a second brand that's going to be to partner with other agencies, like creative agencies and website agencies, and kind of be their digital marketing and paid media arm. So
To
it's
find
kind
more
of like a
business.
white label thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're
Oh,
getting
nice.
ready to launch that in the
Oh,
next
like
probably
kind of
month or
a
two.
plug-in.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that they
Nice.
can like expand their capabilities and
Yeah,
offer
yeah.
the things that we do, but under their name. So
That's exciting.
very excited about that. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. We've enjoyed this chat we've had with you, Kayla.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it as well. Thanks for inviting me on.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being a guest on the Marketing Brief podcast. I am your host, Brian Aquan, and stay curious, everyone.